Forget everything you know about editorial limits. Marvel and DC finally let their guard down, and what we have in our hands is literally the crossover of our dreams. We're talking about Spider-Man and Superman, the Special Edition. But look, if you think this is just another cliche fight where heroes punch each other and then become best friends, you don't get it at all. Here, the multiverse has already collided. They already know each other, and what happens in the shadows of Metropolis is going to make your hair stand on end. Stick with me, because I'm going to show you why this is the boldest crossover of the last 30 years. Part 1. Truth, Justice, and Great Responsibilities. The first story, written by the legendary Mark Waid and illustrated by Jorge Jimenez, already starts by kicking the door down. New York. Dr. Octopus is in his lab, using his phone's AI to stroke his own ego. He asks who the most recognized man in cybernetic robotics is. The AI answers, Dr. William Magnus, the creator of DC's Metal Men. Otto boils with rage, says it's wrong, and asks again, but this time, who's the best in the field of radiation? The answer? Bruce Banner. The villain snaps and crushes his phone with his tentacle. He wants to be feared, but he doesn't want to be forgotten as a scientist. He asks the AI what it takes for 7 billion people to witness his genius. And then, a mysterious voice replies, "But it wasn't your AI that answered." Otto's tentacles start being controlled by this entity, which offers intergalactic recognition. The tentacles reconfigure, and out he emerges, Brainiac. From there, the pact is sealed. We cut to Metropolis. Clark Kent and Peter Parker are at Star Labs. They already know each other. They already know each other's secret identities, which is a huge relief so we don't waste time with that initial petty fighting. Peter is super hyped, quoting the journalist from the Watergate scandal, thinking he's making history, until he realizes that reference is super dated. Dr. Clyburn explains that radioactive material and fast neutron technology were stolen, kind of like a supercharged Wi-Fi. And the kicker, they used kryptonite in the project. They realized instantly that they need to act. Superman puts on his suit in super speed, and Spidey mocks him. I doubt you do it that fast around Batman. Absolute cinema. I laughed out loud at this scene. Flying through Metropolis, Superman tries to track Octopus, but feels a sharp pain and plummets. Spidey jumps and catches him by the cape. The air is infected with kryptonite through the fast neutrons. Octopus is using binary code to rewrite people's brains all over the city. The population goes into agony and starts reciting the codes. The duo jumps into action. Superman saves a guy from a truck. Spidey saves the bomb squad. In a burning building with the firefighters hypnotized, Superman wraps himself in Spidey's webs to protect himself from the fire and save a kid. Spidey is almost crushed by a steel beam, but Clark uses his freeze breath. The problem is that people are already reciting the code. It's too late. Superman finally tracks the signal to space, to the Skull ship. There, he finds Octopus armed with kryptonite-loaded tentacles. Spidey arrives right after and goes straight for Brainiac. Peter tries to shut down the machine, takes a beating, and Brainiac drops an entire building on top of him. Meanwhile, Clark appeals to Otto's humanity, reminding him of his feats as a scientist, which breaks the villain's ego. With the ship damaged and falling to Metropolis, Superman is too weak to hold it. Spidey is out of web fluid, trapped under the rubble. Superman tells him on the radio that he trusts him. And then, in an epic recreation of Amazing Spider-Man number 33, Peter lifts the rubble with brute force and turns off the machine. The kryptonite wave stops. Superman gets his powers back and catches the ship. Back at the Daily Planet, Perry White is blown away by Peter's photos. The paycheck there is way better than at the Bugle. Clark is a little uncomfortable with Peter selling photos of himself, but Peter gives it to him straight. Jameson's checks paid for my college. This puts Superman at ease, realizing the only one harmed by the Spider-Man photos is Peter himself, who actually got his tuition paid thanks to that money. The story wraps up with Clark offering him a ride to NY, swinging by the Superman Museum first. Guys, this story was spectacular. I loved reading every moment of it, and the art is sensational. But hold on, because the next one brings the ladies who run the show. Part 2. The World's Finest. Written by Tom King and illustrated by Jim Lee, this one is about Mary Jane and Lois Lane. They are in a bus hanging off a bridge by Spidey's webs. The spare? None at all. They are having a casual chat. The two are huge fans of each other. Outside, Superman and Spidey are getting racked by a giant sentinel. They climb up the web complaining about how much they hate multiverse portals and their variants. MJ has had it up to here with running into versions of herself that only know how to save face. Tiger, you just hit the jackpot. They deduce the Sentinel isn't after their husbands because neither of them is a mutant. The target is a mysterious guy in a trench coat on the bridge who says this is Sentinel number 248. The guy speaks French, and here it becomes clear that he is none other than Gambit. He needs a deck of cards, Lois pulls one out of her purse, and Gambit simply obliterates the robot. The girls walk over to the heroes, super chill, praising how handsome Gambit is, and MJ accidentally dropped her classic jackpot catchphrase. The couples walk off into the sunset, and Gambit closes it out with a "that's all, folks." It was a fun story, a bit of a throwaway, but I guarantee you the next one is going to blow your mind. Part 3, Pages. Peter gets back to his apartment, exhausted, takes off his classic mask, and comes face to face with Superboy Prime, standing there in his underwear, staring at the black suit, which in this case isn't the symbiote, just a regular cloth suit. Clark just goes, "What's up?" Peter is absolutely outraged. Can you even imagine that? Prime says he wanted to talk about the suit because he read about it in Secret Wars. Yep, Prime breaks the fourth wall the whole time. He wants to go back to his real universe. In the middle of some mundane rescues, Prime explains that nobody there exists. They are just ink on pages in a comic book in his attic. And the best part? Prime read Spider-Man comics, but his favorite hero was Superman. Spidey claps back, "Do you want to be a hero or just cosplay as one?" Lucky for Peter, this is the peace and love Prime from the 2020s, not the psychopath from the 2000s. Prime punches reality and they travel into the multiverse, landing in the library, the time stream where every page is a reality. He needed Peter's spider sense for surgical precision, but Peter accidentally sticks his web to a page and tears open a portal. Who shows up? The High Evolutionary, the architect of that place. The villain lets Prime go, but says the spider stays. It hits Peter. Prime wanted the symbiote to trade for a ticket out, and since he didn't get it, he was going to use Spidey as a bargaining chip. Peter refuses, webs the villain's face, jumps to another reality, and Prime saves him. Prime admits he would never actually trade him. Peter understands that Prime is a broken guy, oscillating between good and evil. Prime suggests they escape into a comic book, but Peter refuses. He wants to fight because the villain is hurting people. He just asks Prime one thing: stay out of my closet. And the two charge at the High Evolutionary. Insane, right? But the temporal madness doesn't stop there. Part 4, Beyond the Cobwebs of Tomorrow. Written and illustrated by Sean Murphy, Miguel O'Hara, the Spider-Man of 2099, is in Gotham destroying an Alchemax building. He hates Gotham. Two voices on the comm say it can't be Superman down there because he's too scrawny. It's Superboy. He confronts Miguel, takes a web to the face, but melts it all with heat vision. A massive brawl in the skies of Gotham kicks off. One of the voices on the radio drops the slang shway. If you know, you know. It's Terry McGinnis, the Batman Beyond, watching everything from a cloaked Batmobile. Batman reveals himself. Miguel makes fun of how weird it is that Batman's teeth show through the mask. And thinking about it, it really is bizarre. Things cool down and they talk. Miguel explains he came from 2099 to stop the merger of LexCorp and Alchemax in 2039, which would create the cyborg Dr. Doom 2099. Superboy shocks everyone. He came from the 10th century, or 30th, where Lex Luthor rules everything. Two corporations, two evil futures. Since Lex disappeared into the Source Wall, they decide to team up to fix the timeline. Epic. But the next story, Marvel and DC were straight up sadistic. Man, a future where Lex Luthor rules everything? That's heavy. But hey, If you want to bring a piece of this multiverse into your own world, you've got to check the links I left in the description and pinned comment. I've hunted down the best deals on premium building sets, high-end statues for your desk, and those super articulated action figures that look like they jump straight out of these pages. Whether you're looking for a massive display piece or just the original comics to read for yourself, it's all there. Grab your gear, support the channel, and let's keep going, because things are about to get dark for a certain photographer in Metropolis. Part 5. Carnage. Matt Fraction and Steve Lieber bring us this one. Jameson is screaming for pictures of Spider-Man. The freelance photographer this time around is Jimmy Olsen. Peter crosses paths with him and gives him 2 golden rules. Stick to Manhattan to find Spidey, and never go into a dark alley. Oh, and always use the hyphen in Spider-Man's name. What does Jimmy do? Walks into a dark alley and comes face to face with Carnage. The villain looms over him and says, laughing, that he's going to die precisely because he walked into the alley and forgot the hyphen. Jimmy tries to call Superman on his signal watch, but it gives him a firmware update error. The last thing he does is take a picture before being brutally murdered by Carnage. Yes, they killed Jimmy Olsen in the crossover. The next day, the picture of Carnage is on the front page of the Bugle with the headline, "I told you so." Jameson knows it's not Spider-Man, but uses the photo to justify that he's a menace. Jameson cries tears of joy, saying it's the happiest day of his life, topping even the day his son became an astronaut. Heavy, dark, and brilliant. We need a breather after that one. Part 6. The Bridge. Jeff Lemire and Rafa Sandoval bring us The Bridge. A severe storm hits Smallville. Jonathan Kent is near collapsed bridge. In the narration, Superman talks to Spidey. I don't think we're all that different. Paul Kent finds Ben Parker with a broken down truck in the rain. A tornado is coming, and they hear kids screaming for help in the river. The 2 ordinary men risk their own lives, save the kids, and take them to the farm. In the narration, Clark and Peter talk about the men who raised them. The comic ends by showing that it doesn't matter what planet or city you come from. What defines a hero is the moral compass of the person who taught you how to be a man. Simple and beautiful. But hold on, because the ethical debate is about to heat up on TV. Part 7. Bias. Written by the master Greg Rucka. A live debate on Jack Ryder's show, J. Jonah Jameson versus Lois Lane. Spidey watches everything hanging from the studio ceiling. Lois accuses the Bugle of having a bias against Spider-Man. Jameson fires back, saying the press has to question power, whether political or heroic, because Spider-Man is held accountable to no one. Lois asks if the hatred is because of the mask. He says yes. Jameson reveals that he respects heroes who show their faces: the Fantastic Four, Wonder Woman, Captain America, and Superman. He says anyone who hides behind a mask, even name-dropping Batman, is suspicious. Lois wraps up by saying he judges appearance, not actions. Up above, Spidey hears Superman being praised and drops the best line of the night. Maybe the secret is just a pair of glasses. The irony is screaming here. Jameson worships Superman for not wearing a mask, having no idea that civilian Clark Kent's face is the greatest disguise in the world. And to wrap things up, let's go to the most chaotic encounter in this book. Part 8. Blind Date. G. Willow Wilson and Belen Ortega deliver pure gold. The Punisher is working as a bouncer at a restaurant in Metropolis. For the money? No. He's there because the clientele is made up of the elite villains from Marvel and DC, and he's going to serve them their last meal. A stunning woman arrives for a blind date. Karen Starr, Power Girl. She hands Frank her umbrella, and who is her date? Paul Rabin. Yes, the infamous Paul from the Spider-Man comics. Karen is hating the date, wishing she was fighting Darkseid instead. Frank has had enough and storms the dining room with dual submachine guns. Paul panics. Frank tells him and his girlfriend to get out since they're civilians. Karen steps up, grabs Frank by the throat, and tells him not to kill her date. Frank lets her know, "I'm not aiming at him," and points to the bar full of villains she hadn't even noticed. They team up, beat the living daylights out of everyone, and have insane chemistry. Karen mentions that Paul ran off and prefers redheads anyway, since he left to try and get back with his ex. The chat turns into an actual date. Frank talks about his dark past, and Karen counters that she lost her planet too, but didn't put a skull on her chest. That's when Frank drops the gem. It would be criminal if you put a skull right in the middle of your uniform. That classic joke about her costume window. Oh man, haha. In the end, she asks if they're going to shake hands or go somewhere private. Frank chooses Mongolia. Wild, right? Guys, what a ride. We had dense, bizarre scripts that fully respected the legacy of these legends. The page limit hurts some of them, like the Superboy Prime one, but overall, it's a historic comic. Obviously, if they had more pages to flesh out each story, it would be even better, but all in all, the crossover was a blast. And the first one, the main story, is really cool. Honestly though, I think Batman and Deadpool still edges it with a better story, and we already dropped a video covering that full comic. I'll leave the link down in the description for you guys to watch. But now, the ball is in your court. Which of these 8 stories was your favorite? Do you think it beats the classic Batman vs. Deadpool? Let me know down in the comments because I want to debate this with you guys. Run down there and write it. I'm watching and I will reply. And don't forget, leave that super spider like and subscribe to Comic Chronicles so you don't miss any leaks or theories from the nerd universe. Hit the bell so you get notified because there's a lot of good stuff coming from both Marvel and DC, and I'm bringing it all to you. Thanks guys, see you next time. Peace out.